Welcome back. Good afternoon, everybody. After unlock, entire industry has taken a major shift. All are trying to follow a whole set of new normal. Government is creating new SOPs to open doors for customers. Low customer response has left the whole country wondering what is the future and by when will the business will come back to normal. This time needs to be used to reinvent, relearn new strategies for growth. Today we have with us Mr. Adeeb Ahamed, Managing Director of Lulu Financial Holdings, 2014 Holdings and Tablez. He's an influential thought leader and philanthropist and serves on the Senior Advisory Board of the World Economic Forum South Asia Regional Strategy Group. So, Mr. Ahmed, you have established Lulu Financial Group with more than 200 branches across the globe within 10 years. How are you dealing with the current crisis?
As you said, since inception, we are now currently operating in around 11 countries. Our businesses have been differently hit across different regions. Year to date, as a consumer-facing business that we are, and also in the cross-border payment space, along with the banknotes business. Now, if I talk about the cross-border remittance space, we've been hit differently across the different countries that we operate in. Some countries that we have seen a spike in the level of business that we are having. In certain other line of countries that we operate in, we have seen a huge dip in the market. And in other countries, we've seen the business holding as budgeted for the year 2020. Now, when it comes to banknotes business, which is also a major vertical of our business, now this sector has been hit drastically, predominantly because of international travel and tourism being hit mostly. You would find that with people not able to fly between countries, it was much expected that this particular line would get a hit from the beginning of the year. But I think so, in a way that we have looked forward, we have used this time to technologically embrace more on the digital side of transformation, which we have already started the process a couple of years ago. But the pandemic has really forced us to up the speed on that particular game. We've also found out that the consumer adaptation of technology has also gone up. So basically, people have started to become more and more handy with the use of the technological space that they have in. We've been able to launch a couple of technology products and card-based products also in different markets that we operate in. And we have also been able to, in the short span of time, launch an e-wallet space out in the Philippines market. And see, all these measures have literally helped us to have a large fast track on our efforts and strategies to achieve our 30% digitalization by the year 2020. Now, where there was a huge gap at the beginning of the year, now that we have entered almost the Q3, we have found out the gap has been narrowed to a large extent. And now we're very confident that we would achieve the 30% digitalization strategy by the end of this year.
That's really interesting to know because technology is what all retailers, real estate guys, everyone is looking for.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So as per the news, Tablez plan to invest rupees 350 crore in India by 2021 to bring global brands to India by setting up multiple outlets across 8 brands across the country. In this current situation, what are your expansion plans going forward?
So by the end of 2019, the calendar year for us is December. We had already invested a little over 250 crores into the different brands that we had already brought into the market. And we have expanded with over 50 odd stores operating in different cities across India. We were in a plan to open up close to 18 odd stores in the year 2020 of the different brands that we operate. Because of the pandemic situation, and as we are all well aware, retail is one of the core areas that has been hit very hardly by the present situation. Nevertheless, to say that we have not rolled back drastically on our plans. We still plan to open up 12 stores this year across the different brands that we have in India. And the fact that the reality of retail is also changing at a very fast pace. Here also the brick and mortar versus the e-commerce adaptation has becoming really important as we go further out into the market by the closing of year 2020 and also the beginning of 2021. And as I was saying, we strongly believe that the market sentiments would start to take place by the second quarter of 2021 is what is our strong gut feeling on that one. And considering how the present situation pans out, we would restructure our portfolios as a part of the network corrections that needs to be done. I think so. This is an exercise most of the retailers across India would be doing at this point of time. And if the economic recovery happens by the quarter two of 2021, as anticipated, we would see a definite green shoots also on recovery path. We will be selectively opening up new stores. And the problem that we have here, unlike the previous years, is that towards the fag end of the year, we start to plan ourselves for the next year. And we've already reached the last, towards the last month of quarter three, and the quarter four is soon to be there with us. But what we have on hand today is that we will never be able to plan for the year 2021 up until we'll see a recovery plan. So we'll have to go quite blank into the year 2021, making short-term plans rather than yearly structures. So we would be looking at making monthly plans and start correcting it as and when we start to see recovery path happening in the market.
Yeah, very rightly said, because long plans may not happen. So it's like seeing the current situation. It's better that we have short plans and then work accordingly.
Absolutely.
So you have, yeah. So you've spoken, about technology. So what's your take, especially on the technology and omni-channel in retail sector in the new normal?
Yes. So here, the seamless digital experience is here to stay, and that is something that we have started to understand a couple of years ago, but today we have embraced it as a part of our daily life. Retail will be one of the biggest adopters of technology to actively enable an interactive customer experience on the different sectors that we operate in. Consumers today are very active on the various devices and expect interconnecting experiences not to be lost when they adopt on the digitalization path. The customer journey from where we see is not just going to be all about selling. It's all about creating a value for the consumers and having several touch points that can offer retail industry a different view to the consumers in the coming times. So the adaptation of technology is definitely the most important element that would see yourself surviving in the current times. You have different competition. Being a brick and mortar operator, you have competitions in almost all sites, but still at the end of the day, we are the guys who gives that experience to the customers. So the consumers will still have that touch and point need necessity that is there. We cannot write off the brick and mortar format of retailing over the next decade or so. It has to be a slow paced phase out manner where people still want to come and have that touch and feel and experience rather than just going and buying it on a click and then feel that what they've chosen is not the right product. So even if they choose to buy it out of a digital platform, maybe they would want a store somewhere in their city to come and say that I would like to have an exchange, and in exchange I would like to see what is other areas that I want to touch base. New technologies like augmented reality and virtual realities as such is expected to bring shopping to a totally different level of experience in the coming years to come. We have companies like IKEA that has adopted it in much better forms and fashion. At Tablez, we have recently launched an e-commerce portal called @tablez.com and have made our brands like Toys R Us available in this portal and having a seamless customer experience being assured here at this portal. And we are working on the omni-channel to roll across the different parts of India to have a contactless commerce in our stores. So we are adopting technology not just on the online portal space, but also in the technology where adaptation is necessary on the store as well. When people come inside, how do in the renewed normality, people want to have that less touch experience to happen inside. So, how do you give that security? How do you give that safety assurance to your consumers as such? And what are the technologies that we are using to ensure this for our consumers? And we're also working on strategies where our stores can synergize the online experience and vice versa. For an example, where the technology and the online listing allows us to deploy our physical store and presence across the different parts of India in a very short time, rather than not having a physical presence in a certain city as such. But we also find it's important that we also be present as close as possible to the consumers, at least in certain sector like the toy industry that we are part of.
So this is really interesting to know. Experiential retail has always played an important role over e-commerce.
Yes.
So, and gaining a customer confidence at this point in time, the technology is very, very important. So I really appreciate that what you are doing here. So this is very interesting. So, Tablez has already targeted the Indian sports retail market and opened its first Go Sports store in Mumbai in May 2019 for a consumer behavior viewpoint. Few surveys have found that compared to pre-COVID behavior, exercising at home has increased more than 70%, and twice many consumer are using online app-based exercise classes. How do you find the future of sports retail going forward, and what are your plans of expansion in this segment?
See, the sport and fitness market across India is a 6 billion market at this point of time, and it's only here to increase as consumers or the people of India are getting more and more aware about the importance of being fit and the awareness of choosing a healthy lifestyle as such on a day-to-day manner. Apart from this, sports is also becoming a fashion statement today. So not just the fitness side of the business, but also a fashion statement has been adopted in the sports industry. And sports being an activity comes in different forms. It could also be in small spaces that the sports could be really enjoyed. Walking is a sports as of today. So there's a lot of things that the Indian consumers are now getting opened up and becoming more and more aware. For us, bringing Go Sports into our brand portfolio was a very important exercise that we had concluded, and we had managed to open up 2 stores last year. We had an extensive plan of opening up 5 stores this year, but it all got pushed to the last quarter of this year. We feel that the physical activity is an integral part of a human DNA. And post-pandemic, and also in the pandemic scenario, we have seen that this is a reality that is getting accepted by the people more and more on a day-to-day manner. So here, as there is temporary need and makeshift, because the sector is highly disorganized, other than the key market players like Reebok, Nike, Adidas, what the Go Sports stands apart is that it's all brands under one roof, and all sports under one roof, so that makes a big difference onto the brand side. We cater to all needs of the consumers as such. The 2 stores that we opened, one in Bombay and one in Bangalore, this was the feedback that we got from our consumers. They came to understand. Otherwise, if they like to buy a T-shirt of a Nike, but are more comfortable buying shoes of a Reebok, they have to go to different shops to do that one, and maybe they would not find it under one shopping mall. But with Go Sports, that's a different element altogether. They're able to come experience it, and they're also coming to experience the fact that what is a new product that has come inside. There's a day-to-day changing in this element where new products are launched based on the human body, based on the running pattern, based on the walking pattern. So these kind of things can only be explained to a consumer and made them aware that what seems to be good, what is your walking pattern, what kind of shoes would really help you to further ease the pressure on your knees, and so on and so forth. So as Go Sports, we believe in hugely in that customer experience. We believe in educating our consumers to buy the best products that would help them to achieve their goals. So here, this is where we do it on a day-to-day, and here, this is why we like the brick and mortar in much essence. because this is where the online click starts to miss on things. You can go and buy a product, but you are never fully informed on the product that you are buying, and you end up maybe buying the wrong product that could have an adverse negative impact on the whole target that you have been buying that product. While you're in the store, the person there can really help you, can take you through it, can make you understand what seems to be the good products that you should be looking at and what is beneficial for you to achieve your goals. So in that sector, we are very helpful. We're very happy to have that brand with us. Soon we are taking the brand online as well. But at the same point of time, we're trying to keep the same element of having that customer experience in the online space as well. We're trying to have a chat facility on the online space where the consumers will be able to speak directly to our consumer experience associates, and they will be able to ask interactive questions to understand, what I should buy, what I not try. This is my goal, and what will help me to achieve that goals. So these seems to be the whole focus that our technology department is now working on to bring this platform on the digital part as well.
And especially in sports, you are very inquisitive about the products you're buying, the shoes you're buying. So, if you are providing all such information, so that's really interesting.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So, Mr. Ahmed, since Tablez has been bringing many international brands in India, what would be your strategy in terms of changing retail models for the post-COVID world now?
See, I believe that any successful retail player have to carve out an appropriate value versus experience position for their customers. And this can only happen post the pandemic by way of a seamless online and offline play. This is very important. So while you're already present in the offline space, you should also be present in the online space as well. And as a retail in the lifestyle segment, we plan to fulfill consumers' aspiration while delivering the value perception since the consumers are moved by multiple brands at the same level. We would like to create a differentiation on the products that we bring in out of India, because the apparel market is going to be one of the most hit post the COVID scenario, because we find there are too many players in that market and not able to provide any differentiation on the products that they're selling. So everybody is selling a t-shirt. Why should I buy a particular t-shirt of a brand? So we need to start targeting on those brands that clearly differentiates their products from the rest of the products that are available in the market. And moving things online obviously has its advantage in terms of marketing, real estate saving, and the retail is all about experience. And when we are talking about experience, as I said earlier, the offline and online plays a very important role. So where the key markets allows us to have stores, we would definitely want to have stores. And where we want to reach the larger clienteles, we'll be using the online space as well.
Very, very insightful. Thank you so much for sharing all this with us. So, not taking much time of yours. So last question. So what is your view about India as a sourcing hub for retailers in the future?
I mean, honestly, I think that's the best thing that could happen to India at this point of time. And I think so it was a long due process that India should have adopted at a very early stage. But past is past. And I think so with the initiative that the Prime Minister has brought inside to bring in this Make in India proposal, and now it's further been enacted into various sectors in India. I think so being such a large market, it was an overdue process, So for everything, India had to be self-reliant, and they could have done it for their own markets. But for one reason or other, we were always depending on outside world to bring the products inside. Thereby, the benefits was never in the Indian market as such, So I think so this is a very overdue product. Now, the largest of the sourcing that we do is out of China. And China has made itself a large mark to say that, we are the mass scale producers of the world. Now, India don't have to follow a similar pattern when it comes to a production field in India. See, we need to focus more on quality, and we say we are a quality producer for the world, not a mass producer for the world. I think so that's the stamp that India should aim to achieve, and that could be only achieved if different policies, procedures, and functions, and it needs to be a combined effort among different departments that we have in India. So because we need to clearly create that hallmark for ourselves, and I think so the COVID has wiped clean the slate and has given us an opportunity to create that in India at this point of time. So if we were to look at the Japanese model that was always told a long time ago, the Japanese were always known for creating quality products. They were never known for creating mass market product. So I think so we should take the path of the Japanese way, but on a larger scale, whereby we don't start compromising the quality of the things. At the same point of time, it has impacts on the power generation, infrastructure, so on and so forth. So that's why I'm saying that, in order to for India to achieve that Make in India goal, a lot more sectorial work has to be completed. Infrastructure, power generation, facilities, people, skill development. Now, I think so one of the biggest challenges that India faces today is about skill development, and I think so a lot needs to be developed in that area, so that when the manufacturing sector starts to really pick up, we get skilled laborers to go inside. Now, in order to have skilled labor to come inside, the universities has to prepare itself on creating good educational workforce, so that they would come inside and they would give the right calibered people to work in that manufacturing sector as well. R&D plays a very important aspect. For long, we've been the back-end processor of the IT sector. We have never been the R&D developer of the world. I think so it's time that India wake up and starts to become that R&D development aspect of the world, where we start to innovate new products rather than just becoming a maker of a product across the countries. So I think so there are different areas that India can really strive. The human workforce and the caliber of the workforce really puts us in a very good position to start making strides in all these areas. But I think so there's a lot needs to be done, and I think so with the present push that the government is making, I think we are definitely on the right track, and not long we'll also be known for being we'll also be known for the hallmark of being a good producing country for the world, not just a mass producing part of the world.
Very rightly said, and I think this is the time, where everyone, the whole world is looking for India. So India should come up with such innovative things, and it will really help India to grow. Thank you, Mr. Ahmed, for your valuable time once again. Read Exhibition's initiative of bringing industry leaders together is to present their unique thoughts in these testing times to help many in the industry to survive through their day-to-day challenges. So let's stay connected for much more to come. Bye and stay safe. Thank you.
Very much for having me on your show, and thank you very much for allowing me to speak my heart out. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.